Welcome to FAFSA Ready, Set, Go Live. My name is Katisha Tony, and I am the president and CEO of Coats Inc. Over the past 7 weeks, we have had the opportunity to invite guests to share their expertise on all things FAFSA and financial aid. Last week's live, Coats Inc. had the opportunity to attend the Indiana Student Financial Aid Association's Guidance Counselor Workshop Series that was hosted by InvestEd. During our time there, Coats Inc. was able to learn and be updated on the latest state financial aid updates, the Commission for Higher Education programs, and information about the upcoming 2025-2026 FAFSA. We want to make sure that we are prepared to help you all as much as possible. If you have been following our series, we have given you information that is needed to complete the FAFSA. Sessions that have covered creating the FSA ID, gathering important documents, understanding contributors, and reviewing the actual sections of the 2024-2025 FAFSA step by step. Today, we're going to jump back into our FAFSA series as we discuss what happens after you submit your FAFSA. So we're going to dig on in. After you and your contributors have hit submit, it'll take about 1 to 3 days to process your FAFSA. You should continue to check and look out for any emails from the Federal Student Aid. You can also log into your studentaid.gov account to check the status of your FAFSA at any time. And after your FAFSA has been processed, you'll be able to review your FAFSA submission summary to make sure all the information is complete and accurate. Your FAFSA submission summary will include the date the FAFSA was submitted and processed. It'll also include your student aid index, which is acronym as SAI. Colleges will use the SAI to assess your eligibility for federal and non-federal student aid and provide you with the financial aid package specific to their institution. The FAFSA submission summary consists of 4 main parts, and it's organized into tabs on the page. So it's eligibility overview, the FAFSA form answers, school information, and next steps. So I'm going to show you a couple of those things in a second. So the eligibility overview tab on the FAFSA submission summary is an important tool for understanding the aid you may receive from your school. This includes money you don't have to repay, such as federal Pell Grants, money you can earn from working at your school, which is the federal work study, and then also federal student aids. So we're going to look at a document really quickly. It will show you kind of an idea of what that FAFSA submission summary is going to look like. So it gives you, again, that idea of your federal Pell Grant, the federal direct loans, and then any of that work study. So it gives you a breakdown. You can see on the side how much money you're going to have available for each piece of that. And this is going to be kind of your average of what that is going to look like. There's a couple of things that I want to note when you're looking at this is that if you're selected for verification for your eligibility, there will be an asterisk next to your SAI, along with the comment notifying you that you have been selected. This is an additional process. Hopefully you don't have to go through verification, but if you do, there will be an asterisk there to notify you. In that case, your schools will contact you to indicate what documentation you must submit and by what date. These are estimates, and your school of choice will make the final decision on the financial aid package once all documents have been submitted. You also want to make sure that you don't take too long when you're doing that verification, because that's just going to stall the financial package that you're going to get from each institution. The next session that you're going to see is the FAFSA form answers. Under the FAFSA form answers tab, you'll see the answers to that you and if applicable, your contributors have provided on your FAFSA form. Federal tax information from the IRS will not be displayed. As you can see, it's really some simple information here. It's going to give you your personal identifiers, your personal circumstances, different demographics, and your financial aid. It gives you just kind of a breakdown of what those answers are. So making sure that you check that and make sure it's correct is going to be really important for that portion as well. But again, your IRS information will not be shown here anymore, just because they're going to be pulling that directly from the IRS data retrieval tool that's embedded into the FAFSA as well. So now we're going to take a look at the school information section. So under the school information tab, you'll see information about the schools that you selected to receive your FAFSA information. You can compare the graduation rates, the retention rates, those transfer rates, the default rates, the medium debt upon completion, and the average annual cost of your selected schools. So this is like a really good tool, honestly, to use as not only as you're thinking about how much it costs to go to that school, but also all of the additional pieces here. Again, when you're thinking about completion rates, you want to make sure that you're picking a school that has a high completion rate, that has a good retention rate. When you're thinking about retention, that means how many people stay every year. And then also when you're thinking about graduation rate, obviously it's those students who are coming to that institution and actually graduating. So actually take a good look at that, because that really gives you a lot of information around how you select your school outside of just how much it costs. You really want to pay attention to that as well. And then we'll look at our final tab. It's under the next steps tab. You'll see any comments that pertain to your FAFSA form. Some comments may require you to start a correction or send additional documentation to the college or career school you plan to attend. Other comments may be informational and do not require any further action. So making sure that when you do that, you're looking at this area to make sure you're not missing any type of communication. It's going to give you those next steps of what you need to do. If you need to correct for any errors or anything like that. So just making sure that you pay attention to that area and that you can catch any corrections ahead of time. Again, the more you check these documentations, more you log into your studentaid.gov, it's more likely that you won't have any errors. So here are the additional notes to keep in mind. Make sure to check if you have any corrections are required to your FAFSA form. If they ask you to make a correction, take your action right away so they can finish processing your form. You can also make any corrections from the details page of your processed FAFSA form submission found in your studentaid.gov website. In your account, contributors can also start a correction from their studentaid.gov accounts. However, they can only make corrections to their own sections of the form and not yours as the student. So again, making sure that if there is something specific to them, to your contributors, that they can only make corrections to their part of your FAFSA, and you as a student can only make your corrections as well. If you've experienced an event in your life that affects your ability to pay for school and it is not accurately reflected on your FAFSA form, you'll need to contact the financial aid office at your school to make sure they know about it. They will give you school-specific support if that option is available, but just making sure you reach out to them directly if you're trying to make any of those changes.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tony. I feel like that was a lot of great information. I feel like sometimes people have questions and they're not sure what questions to ask. So I do have a few that I'm going to throw at you. The first one, what is the difference between the FAFSA submission summary and the financial aid offer?
That's a really good question. So the rule of thumb is to always check the studentaid.gov website. I said studentaid.gov multiple times. So I want to make sure that if you are not using that website or going to it frequently, to begin to do that. There's also a great visual that shows the differences. But here's a quick explanation. So when you think of FAFSA submission summary, this is sent after your FAFSA form has been processed. And then it also is provided by the U.S. Department of Education, and it includes your student aid index, which is that SAI that I talked about earlier, and the estimated amount of federal grants that you may be eligible for. And then a financial aid offer is sent to you after you have been admitted to a college, the career school, or your trade school, and it's provided by each school's financial aid office, and it includes the exact amount and any types of financial aid that you are being offered by the school. In reality, think of the submission summary as an estimate, and then the financial aid offer as the school's actual amount that they're going to offer you. So use the financial aid offer to make your final choice based on what you and your family can afford and pay for college. Because again, that the FAFSA submission is just an estimate. It's not an exact amount until it comes directly from the school that you are trying to go to. So just making sure that's a rule of thumb. Your financial package or financial offer is the actual amount that the school is going to give you on all of those pieces. And that is what you should look at when you're comparing between those schools. And also, I think I talked a little bit earlier about graduation, retention, and all of those things. You want to try to pick a school that has a high retention rate and has a high graduation rate, in addition to a financial package that really makes sense for you and for your family. So that's the difference.
Thank you. You answered that so well. My next question. What are some corrections that can be made online by logging into my studentaid.gov account? And what are some corrections that have to be made through my school of choice?
Another good question, Shannon. So corrections you can make online, that is adding a missing signature that needs to be done, adding missing consent or approval, any correction responses to direct unsubsidized loans only questions, correcting your social security number, updating any personal contact information, including your mailing address or your email address, and then adding or removing any schools or fixing any typos. Those are the main areas that you can do online. Corrections you can make through your school specifically will be updating financial information related to amended tax returns. So you know that there's going to be any issues with those tax returns. They need to know that because they're going to be changing those financial packages based off of what they're getting from the IRS. Requesting any update to your financial aid information if your financial situation has changed significantly. That's another thing I talked about a little bit earlier, is just making sure that if anything has changed for you financially, that you let the school know, because again, they are only basing it off of what you have given them or provided to them in the FAFSA. So if things have changed, you need to reach out to the schools directly so that they know how to make a better financial package for you based off of your current circumstances.
Thank you. We've been on a roll today. All right. And my final question, just as you know, many things are happening with the FAFSA. Should I reapply, I apologize, for the FAFSA if I have not received my FAFSA submission summary within the 1 to 3 days that you mentioned earlier?
So I would say no. Just relax, take your time. Do not reapply. You, the student, can check the status of your FAFSA form by following a couple of different steps. And that's one, logging into the studentaid.gov using your FSA ID, that account username and password. Select your process FAFSA submission from the My Activity page. This will bring you to the details page. And then all you have to do is view your FAFSA submission summary, and that's going to give you an update of what's going on. If you submitted a paper FAFSA form, you can check the status of your application once it's processed. It's roughly 7 to 10 days from the date mailed. But again, do not reapply. And honestly, I don't even think you can reapply once you put your social security number in and create your username and password. And I know this is something we went over in another series, so I'm hoping that you all have paid attention to what I have been giving you all. Once you create that FSA ID, you need to save it. And make sure you create it, take a picture of it, email it to yourself or anything like that, and keep that important information, because you cannot do another one. Your FSA ID is linked to your social security number, so they will not even allow you to reapply. So I just want to push the importance of making sure that you do have and store that information. And again, you're able to go into studentaid.gov to double check and make sure that everything is up to date. And it'll give you as much of an update as possible when you log in.
Thank you.
No problem. I would say continue on again to email us, ask us questions or things like that if you have additional questions about what happens after you submit your FAFSA. But right now, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. Next week, our final FAFSA Ready, Set, Go Live will happen. We'll explore how to compare and accept financial aid offers, and we will be joined by a panel of students who will talk about their experience with financial packaging as well. Another thing to note is that we also have one-on-one sessions available for anyone needing direct FAFSA support until the end of September. We have bilingual support on some of those days as well. All you have to do is go to our website, www.coatsinc.org, and find our FAFSA page and schedule a one-on-one time with us. The page is also full of FAFSA resources and details that we are updating all the time. So share our page, share our resources, and follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Thank you all, and see you next week. Next time on FAFSA Ready, Set, Go Live, where we spend Tuesdays talking to experts on all things FAFSA and financial aid. Have an awesome day.
Bye.